lifelong interest in healing, Dr. Linda Salvin pursued an advanced degree in epidemiology. Then, after dramatic near-death experiences, Dr. Linda saw the other side and returned with gifts of insight, visions, and revealed wisdom. Now those gifts are ongoing, and she's here to share them with you. Get ready to be amazed. It's time for Dr. Linda Salvin's Psychic Solutions podcast with America's original radio psychic, Dr. Linda Salvin, offering up her always fascinating blend of psychic psychology, clairvoyant insights, and expert guests and alternative healing methods. So pull up a chair and get ready for a visit with the one and only Dr. Linda. And now, live from Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Linda Salvin.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, wherever you're listening, tuning in, watching, downloading, however you're getting this podcast. I am grateful that you are. And if you want more information, you can always contact me at lindasalvin.com. Today, I have a returning guest, a friend of mine who has gone through hell and high water. You've seen her on the show twice, maybe 3 times, 4 times in the past year. And her name is Gina DeStito. Gina came to me. Well, we first met at a conference for health, which is on the DNA nutrition that I promote all the time because it works. It's based on your DNA and it feeds your genes and your body heals for what it's lacking via nutrition. Gina got caught in a PPP wire fraud scam sort of thing back during the lockdown and was up for 20 years in jail. 20-year jail sentence. But she ended up burning the wicks of wisdom, worked with me, and a month and a half ago, she was set free. The court let her free. Is Gina here yet? She's not here yet.
Yeah, I'm
here.
here.
Yeah, here she is. Okay, there she is. There you are. I didn't see you in the green room. So
Hi.
Gina, who was on pins and needles like anybody going through a potential 20-year sentence in the federal prison, contacted me a lot. You might remember I had her with a woman named Kelly on a few times prior to Gina's verdict and after the verdict, because Kelly was up for a 20-year sentence as well. Both of them different situations, both of them in different cities, states, and parts of the country. Both of them worked with me with Wicks of Wisdom. Yeah, I'm touting my horn because I helped save 2 people from going to jail using my candle line, which a lot of people think is woo-woo, the Wicks of Wisdom, which work like a prescription for your soul. It is. It's not the woo-woo. It might be woo-woo, but it's not woo-woo. There are 4 bottles of oils. Here's 3 that I can hold right now. There's essential herbs. I don't tell you what's in there, but there's 4. And then there's powders that come in from a different country that's gold, silver, and white that's mixed into a baggie. And then you get circles, and they're called petitions, not intentions, and all the words you guys make up. They're petitions. So I teach you what to write on here that goes into the candle, which is half my solution or my formula is part Kabbalah and part Santeria. And in Kabbalah, the candle represents the soul of man. The wick, when lit, is the flame, which is light, which is God. Spiritual. So you put your words that I dictate for the person or situation. It goes into the flame times 3. You want more information on Wicks of Wisdom, how they work, and how they can help you in love, money, moving, travel, health, communication, legal problems, and more, contact me off the air. Now, Gina is going to tell you her whole
Oh my goodness.
20 minutes. But how it started. You look amazing. You can see the pressure off you because you were so,
Years.
I would have been the same, like,
Yeah.
Oh my God, my life is over. I'm going to jail for 20 years. You've been on
because
the
you
show
really
once.
don't know.
Yeah, no, you've been on the show once since you were set free and you were higher than a kite. Now it's a month later.
I was.
Now, bring us up to date.
Well, you did another set of candles for me, and so bringing you up to date, there was amazing things that came out of the court, actually from the judge's mouth, ruling from the bench.
Why don't you talk about that? Because there's a lot of people that'll catch this show that don't know the past 3, 4, 5, 6 shows. Just talk like it's all brand new. Bring us up to date. Recap it.
So with that, 4 years ago, right at the onset of COVID, I was approached by a business associate who had every every demeanor that he was a viable business person. Well, fast forward 2 years later, that wasn't the case. It was myself and 21 other people. You could actually look it up. It's all online. Were indicted for a federal PPP loan fraud, whereas I had a logistics company. Um, so going fast forward with all of this, it was 2 years. 2 years basically facing is exactly like Linda said, 20 years, and or take a plea deal of going to a jail for a year and 1 day, which I would not. And
And I
it just
said,
got,
don't either. I didn't feel right about that decision. You would have cut your
yeah,
nose to spite your face.
exactly.
They
So
were
I
trying to
did,
manipulate you.
yeah, so I know I didn't take it and was ready to go to trial, went to go to trial 4 different times. And we start burning bonfires. And when I say bonfires, sets of
Gina
liquid.
drove from Las Vegas, folks, to Los Angeles, which is in normal traffic is 4.5, 5 hours. She was here in 4 hours flat, loaded up her car with 13 sets of candles, gave her all the petitions, which I was just defining. There's different colors, formulas, words. She took notes and she was off. Go on. We didn't
And
know.
they and they and they and they look wonderful and they dance and they keep you company and it makes the house smell amazing.
Yes, they're
And
well
with
known.
that, I went to go ahead and to begin with went to accept that and then did not accept it. Changed my mind and said no, I'm not going to accept it. I'm going to go to trial. Well, when we the next set that I was burning, and then Linda, you start burning, basically coming to this year in April of 2024. The judge, when it came time for sentencing, because I went to accept a plea deal of an 8 months, 8 months home detention and 3 year probation, the judge basically stated that I was a victim of a con man and Ms. DeStito, this does not define you. And he did not accept the 8 months. He turned it to 6 months. And then he also realized, and what my attorney presented, that the field and the employment that I'm in, to be able to participate currently right now with what's going on with the election, he said, well, why don't we just go ahead and take this and defer that until January of 2025?
Who
And you
does
can go
that?
ahead and work. Never happens. Stop the whole court in its tracks. My attorney said, well, Your Honor, we never thought of that idea. I need time to talk to my client.
No, we don't.
And he's like, I'll just wait here on the bench. He's we didn't adjourn the courtroom. That never happens. I'll just wait. You guys go and talk amongst yourself, come back. So it went from that to, okay, January 2025, come back, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the home detention, where I do have avenues, with the election, to ask for a presidential pardon. So with that, there'll definitely be more candles that are going to be burnt. But here is the twist of the story.
One of them.
I continued to, I was going to, I had my pretrial probation in Tennessee, and this all happened in Georgia. And what ended up happening was that when it went to go to
Sorry.
Tennessee, Tennessee decided to not accept anything that the judge was, a ruling from the bench. And we had probation officers that were going, they can't do this. And my attorney was scratching their head because it was going to be 60 days basically in lockdown in a county in Tennessee, or an eastern county of Tennessee. Well, that all changed because within days, my records to my probation is back in Georgia, unheard of, in front
And Gina was
of
telling me back and forth, like, no, it's not going to happen. We'll see. You'll be like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? No,
in front of a new probation officer, and getting authorized for travel, and being able to go back to the West Coast for work, and was able to actually see my family, and was there for Mother's Day. And so it just came together in a crescendo that was absolutely ironic. but not when you have wicks of wisdom candles. But then here, wait, there's more. The
Oh,
very
what is
last,
it?
the continuation of more wicks of wisdom is that every 30 days I was having a probation that would be allotted, that even if I traveled, I would have to come back to Georgia. Well, the probation officer tells me that he actually spoke to the judge. What? When does a probation officer talk to a federal judge with not
When you burn
with not an
sweetening
attorney
judgment and good
involved?
luck power.
Well, he didn't really mean for it to be continuous, but we're gonna make it continuous. You just fill out all of your paperwork, email it in, and you know do everything that you need to do. Okay, when does that happen? It never happens. And this literally all came together as of last Friday. So here we are. Today's Wednesday. And so it's just one thing
You're
after another
free. You're
after another.
free. You're
It
free.
really is the next step of my life, of being able to focus, just like the judge said. This court case does not define me. This situation does not define me, and it's not over. We can definitely go for a presidential pardon, but from what was presented and where I was, mind, body, and spirit,
Mm.
and how, Linda, you've been a friend and a mentor, and the power of God and these Christ candles, that's how I look at them. It really is a connection to the universe, and that nothing is written in stone, because they're like, as Einstein said, all realities exist at one time. It's what reality you choose to vibrate into, and where your intention, and that's what I want to really talk and have you opine about that, Linda, about the intention when you are writing on these circles.
That's
The
what I'm saying. They're not
intentions.
intentions. They're not intentions. They're petitions. And I want to get rid of that word.
Petitions.
Yeah, I want to get rid of that word intention, because that's the more digital term with the gens and all the TikTokers and YouTubers, everything. I mean, YouTubers and Instagrammers, the whole digital world talks about intentions. This is before the digital world. This is, well, just right after. Let's see. The internet hit us in 1996. These were born in 1999. So they've been around, but the word is actually petition. When it comes to Wicks of Wisdom, which is kind of like an intention, but it's different. If you're just joining the show, I'm Dr. Linda Selvin. You're watching or listening to Psychic Solutions Podcast. The topic today with my guest, Gina DeStito, is from criminal to cool and free, because she has been, for the 4 years I've known her, encapsulated and confined and freaking out and scared and limited to living life as a mother, a grandmother, a worker, a campaigner, a health educator, a producer. She has so many hats, and she was limited in fear more than anything. And sometimes she couldn't even breathe. But then she finally just jumped in, and the smoke cleared, and you're hearing it from her mouth. The candles worked, because even her attorney, just like Kelly's attorney and other people who have done Wicks of Wisdom, have had lawsuits, have said, myself included, 2003, I'll bring that up in a moment, what my attorney, his mouth dropped. We had an appellate case, so you got to do all 5 judges, and then they still won. But with Gina, we did 1325 sets of candles, because one's not going to move it, people. One set's not enough. It's enough to get it going. But overall, we needed the opposing attorney's name, which would have been whoever. Don't say names on the air. But
Right.
in her case, whether it was the DA or whoever was handling the other side of the criminal case, we took that person's name and wrote a petition. We took the name of the judge and wrote a petition. I don't tell you what goes on that. I don't write about it. I had a phone call a week ago. Somebody heard me on Storm and Rose show and said, I see you do candles. I really want the petitions. Or that she said the what do you call it? The
Verbiage.
Yeah, she wanted all of us. I said, but you didn't buy the candles. She goes, no, I'll get my own. I said, no, you won't. You're not going to get the petitions, because no matter if you even try other people's oils, with my technique, it's not going to work because I have a certain solution here. So if you think your intention is to screw me, it's not going to happen. I'm tough like that. However, with Gina, and there were times I had to snap and Gina, like bring her back to earth, like shake her up because of the fear and the anxiety, which I totally understood. I've been through it myself in a different way, not quite at the federal level, but I've had big things happen too that I've had challenged, that shocked me, that scared me, that not everybody was there for me. It's a lonely place to be. It really is.
Very, very much so.
You walked out with boxes. You got home. You started. You showed pictures. You had like 13, 15 going at once. It was a gorgeous, we call it bonfire, but you put them
in. The lights were dancing. They were talking to you. It was like the flames. You keep on walking back in to the room. You walk in. You sit with them.
But you feel it. You feel the
check
presence.
on them.
There's real spirits in these oils, people. These have dancing spirits. They have some nasty spirits. I've had people call me and say, I saw something on the ceiling. I said, that's okay. There's spirits in the oils. And they go, they get scared, but they're not here to hurt you. They're here to do the work. There are real spiritual things that are not tangible. You cannot see. You cannot touch. You might feel it. You might see it, but ultimately you get the results. So think of something tangible like chocolate chip cookies, banana bread, and pasta sauce. All three are recipes. Some have all the same ingredients. Some have varied ingredients, but you end up with a food product. Same thing in Candle Magic. There are formulas for each set to achieve a different result. When you're doing legal work, like we did with Gina, you do what's called sweetening judgment, which is on the court, and you do good luck, which is on the legal team. How it works, if you've got a problem, you contact me off the air and I'll be happy to help you as well. But Gina is asking more about the intentions, the petitions, but it's all part of the work. You use a pencil, you get the names. I require you to get some information before you start the work. There's also a page that's hidden on my website that you go to watch a video and learn some information and easy techniques so you're prepared for when you get started. Then you do all the writing. It's a lot of work because it'll take about 15 days per set. It's not something you buy at a big box store or some big Fortune 500
unless you're
store.
me and you light them all at the same time.
That too. I don't have the picture. I could send it. I should have sent it to Rebel. Let's see if I can find it. But when the I do want to say though that I did book an appointment for you. I had a reading. You saw then that you said this is just beginning. You saw it then. You saw 2 years beforehand. Yes. And so I went through different health issues. And I've overcome those. I've had beautiful souls that come into my existence around me. Even today, I want to give a shout out to Redkin Premier School and to Imagine, who gave me a wonderful facial, and to Mikey, who did my hair. And these wonderful souls came into my world. And, I actually watch the videos of the candles. I want to tell you that I continue to watch them. So once they're done, I'm not done because I watch those videos and I play them, and it brings me peace. It brings me solace. It does.
Yes,
it does.
It continues.
And the spirit, and you can feel it in the video. I'm sending Rebel a couple of pictures right now, and I'm sending one of dressing. And Rebel, here's another one that's in the shower where you see them burning that Gina's talking about. And then we have more of a visual for those that are watching online. If you're just listening to the audio and you're interested in some of the pictures, there you go. That's what a bombing looks like when you've got hundreds of candles going at once. Not hundreds, that's exaggeration. But I just sent another one about dressing, which you're going to get in the email right now, Rebel, that's going to show them on the counter at the sink where I've dressed them, and they're the petitions are in the flame and they're ready to be put into the pan. I teach people to put them in a safe pan because a lot of times they crack, they sputter, they leak, they drip. They have a world of their own. No two are ever alike. They don't burn at the same rate. Well, sometimes they'll go down and melt around the same time. Yes, they're 7-day candles. A lot of people say, she's just selling 7-day candles for $100. It's like, no. You're paying for the oils. Candles are included. You're paying for the ritual. You're paying for
the pixie dust, the god
well,
dust.
yeah, you get the herbs and the powders. It's all thrown in. It's a whole kit. I give you a kit of specially combined ingredients you're not going to find on your own. If you were to go to any apothecary and try to do it yourself, you'd never do it, people, because I was trained in 1999. I don't give away the secret, just like they don't give away the secret sauce at the drive-through. Okay, they just don't. But people either eat it and like it and get more, or like with Gina, they burn it and have peace, or they get married, or they got a job promotion, or they sold their house in a climate that you can't sell, or they got 600,000 over asking, or somebody passed their the bar exam in their first attempt. Things happen all the time.
Starting a business, in school, classes, family.
Wicks of wisdom help your life.
Even with that, I want to just drop
there
it.
You go. Hold on, just a minute, Gina, hold on. This is where I've already dressed the candles. I put the oils, herbs, and petitions into the candles. On the right-hand part, the left part of the screen, you can see candles already in a bin. There's those tin pans are filled with candles. So I've already lit these. Then they're going to be transferred. The flame will be patted out with that knife there that's sitting to the right corner. This is just part of the process. Okay, you can release that and bring back the one picture, please, of all of them sitting in the, there you go. So these are burning, just so people know. This particular photo is of, on the left was for somebody here in Los Angeles. In the middle is for a woman who I do her work, and she's in Portugal. And the ones on the right is for a woman I work for in Israel. So you don't have to be here for me to do the work. Gina did it for herself. I also did for Gina, and she would be back east, but the work gets through because of the spiritual content and the power of the magic in Wicks of Wisdom. It's not just the oils and not just the herbs and not just the petition, but it's all inclusive. Go on.
Well, I also want to talk about your site and what you've went through, and three different near-death experiences, and the connection that you have, and that you connected with me, and how many times I was thinking about you, and there was a phone,
I would call you.
There was Linda, and giving you the updates, and or telling you what the pitfalls were and the ups and downs. And when you actually have somebody there, and that's one thing that I have to say, that you're not just buying candles. There's also a connection to you that continues. And that's, yes, we're doing the work, you're doing the work. And I cannot, even as you as my friend, more passionately state that if you are going through anything with your life, specifically family issues, and this is the one thing that I wanted to point out, the peripheral. There was a suitcase with family photos from the 1920s and turn of the century that disappeared from a family member's home. And I was burning all of these candles and the Wicks of Wisdom, and thinking that they were gone forever, and that, it really put a wedge between my youngest daughter, who's, her early 30s at the time, and all of a sudden I get a phone call, and they're setting up for Christmas, and there was the suitcase behind boxes in a garage that we thought was thrown away. So there's peripheral things that come
more things
into
open
play.
Up as things are lifted, and you thought that suitcase was gone because you had talked to me about it.
Yes.
And I don't remember if I said you're going to find it, but I didn't feel it was quite gone. But I'm not a remote viewer. Some people have the ability to say, oh, behind some boxes there's a blue suitcase, and in the suitcase, some people have that gift. I do not. I see overall, I feel things, and I know things are going to happen. Just like when you said, when you first started this part, you came here for the reading, and I remember just doing the psychic stuff, and sometimes I'll throw cards to confirm what I'm picking up, and it's not always nice. It's not always pretty, but that's when I said, oh, this is just the beginning, because you were going to go here, then go here, 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 and go down. And then I saw the outcome, but it was going to be a few years down the road. So I couldn't really get into it till we got to the meat of it, which is what we did in between with all this. And you were hanging onto the chandelier by a thumbnail. You know, you were really going nuts. You weren't sleeping. You weren't eating. You weren't down to earth. You were scared. And who wouldn't be, especially when they kept pushing the date.
Survival mode. That was the only thing. It's survival mode. And so every day now is just realizing that now it's time to go forward. And if I can say anything to people that who are going through any scenarios in their life, the candles and being able to write your petitions and being very definite about that, and to be able to give yourself love and give yourself kindness, that that was everything. Because it really, I was very much on a precipice that I could have went either way. But having support and having something that is just beyond all understanding, and I was born and raised Catholic and Episcopal, but that's what they say, and that's what's in the Bible: beyond all understanding, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. You know, they're burning candles, they're burning incense. This isn't just brand new, okay?
No, and I just want to interject because I'm Jewish, which is total opposite. And there was a time I was studying Kabbalah with my rabbi, who's deceased 10 years already, Rabbi Joshua. We were studying Kabbalah, and the day's topic was the candles. And I didn't know. And he had already seen the infomercial with Chris Jenner that I had produced. He'd already read about Wicks of Wisdom. He totally approved it. Unfortunately, he passed away before I got the letter of authenticity with his blessing. But we were opening up the Kabbalah book, and I'm like this, and I'm like, Rabbi, he goes, yes, Linda, they came from somewhere. So we were 3,000 years old, and we're reading about candles. In Kabbalah, the candles, as I said, it's called Hakma. That's the Hebrew word. Hakma, the soul of man, the wick, the flame, the light, God. Regardless if you're Catholic or Jewish or Hindu or Muslim, it doesn't matter. There is a God. There is a something out there. This is not about religion, people. This is about people. This is about spirituality. This is about life without the confines and labels. You come to me, I have a solution most of the time. My question to you, did the lawyer ever ask you how this happened, or did you ever get into conversation about her being shocked? I mean, talk about her, because she's probably, I remember you saying she'd never seen this, and Kelly's attorney said the same thing. He'd never seen it. My attorney was shocked back in 2003, which I'll get to if I have time, but it's more about you. What happened from the legal, like they were all stunned, like what?
Well, at the very onset, when I went to go ahead and make the bonfire, we'll just refer to it as the bonfire, that I contacted her and I said, I need to have the names of everybody.
Right.
I need to have the court. I need to have specifically what their titles are, and researched that and got confirmed. And I told her, I said, I'm burning candles. And
you probably thought
so
you were
this is
crazy.
right. 2 years later, when you gobsmack an attorney, and that was absolutely positively that we walked out where the judge said, oh, I'll wait, you go and speak, because she said, Judge, this is a very good idea, but I haven't had the opportunity to speak to my client. He's like, okay, yeah, you go talk to her, I'll just wait, you just go outside. And we walk outside the courtroom, and she's just like, do you understand what he's saying?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because right in the middle of everything, he literally says, well, why don't we just go ahead and postpone the home detention portion until January or
so you
after.
can go do your political.
And is that okay for the probation department? Oh, yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. And so I'm outside with the attorney. And
I'm sorry, I'm only laughing because I'm laughing with you. Go on.
Yeah. She's like, this doesn't happen. I'm like, has this ever happened to me? She goes, no. She goes, no, this does not happen. So with that being said, going back, yes, she was absolutely, completely floored by that situation. And then even after what we had found out about, staying in Tennessee and not moving to, my probation to Georgia, that happened immensely because you ended up burning candles
I
then
did.
too.
I got on it
And
that night or the next
and that
day.
was on a Thursday, and by Monday, I was
flipped.
transferred from Tennessee to Georgia. And on Tuesday, had the name of the new probation officer. By Wednesday, I was speaking with him, getting information. By Friday, I was in his office, and I was in the office at 9 a.m. and by 6:15 p.m., I was on a plane to the West Coast, which
Sure.
was completely unheard of.
Yeah.
Or
The
I would have.
only thing you missed in that whole wish list was the cruise on the Disney cruise. Sorry, I couldn't do it all. I couldn't be Tinkerbell. I'm sorry, but I did my best.
But I did. I was at Disneyland
Okay,
that
you
Sunday
made up
for
for it.
Mother's Day. So I'm gonna give you
Thanks. Half credit.
what do they say at Super Bowl? You've just won the Super Bowl. I'm going to Disneyland. They don't say I'm going on a Disney cruise.
No, they just okay, we were close enough.
So
Close
I went
enough.
to Disneyland.
Yeah,
I was able to be there for work, and I was able to meet my daughter, and her and I, as mom and daughter, and her bestie friends. And even the grandkids, they stayed with dad, and they were with other grandparents. But
where are you now? In Tennessee?
I'm coming from Georgia, and I'm going to be going through Tennessee and then heading to Virginia. But I am going to be coming out to SoCal, yeah, I'm everywhere.
When do you think you'll be back on the West Coast?
Sooner than later. I was just actually looking at plane tickets, and so we'll talk off
Yeah, I
camera
was just
as far as.
curious. Yeah.
Yes,
But
but
this
yes,
whole thing,
sooner than later. I'm going to be doing traveling. Well, that's exactly where it comes to, also where it's unheard of. Oh, wait a second, but wait, there's
because
more.
weren't you like limited for at one point you weren't going to be able to travel? Yeah, bring it
I
back up
wasn't
to
going to
date.
be able to, for 60 days to stay in one county, but then to be able to travel for work like the judge had garnered, but then also as far as now to travel continuously. The rest of the story is that contacted my attorney, and she's taking the steps to put the order in front of the judge to get my passport returned back to me
Oh my
and for it
God.
to be renewed. So once again, that's another thing that doesn't happen, because 2 years for a passport to actually sit in a federal office, safe, usually it's returned back to the State Department. So talk about petition. Before I handed it over, I looked at the passport and I said, I'll be back for you. And,
And you got your everything fell into place in a way most people and the courts and the legal attorneys, especially the legal system. The other side was probably more perplexed, even more so than your attorney, because they were so confident they had nailed you. They had you in a cell. They had you locked away. I know. And you got a lot of
Tennessee
letters on your behalf.
Tennessee probation, when it went to post-trial probation.
Oh, they didn't want you. They said, no, you're not. This is no good. You're going to stay in Tennessee.
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
No,
You're
I
not.
know.
And the probation officer out of Georgia was adamant. He was like, they can't do this. And I said, well, I understand that, but I respectfully want to be in Georgia. But he was just adamant. He's like, they can't do that. If they sent somebody over from Tennessee, we would be abiding by all of the judges, a federal judge, no less, the federal judge's orders. And Tennessee definitely had their own thought
just so that you know, Gina would call me every step of the way. Oh my God, they're not letting me out of Tennessee. Tennessee said no. I said no. I said what? I got overwhelmed. Like, what do you mean? They're off all this out. It was all going to work out in 4 or 5 days. Guess what? They let go. And they went, no matter what pit she fell in, she got out. Here's the bucket. Let's go rescue Gina one more time. She's out of all the schmutz. That means crap in Yiddish. It's been a nice way of saying it. But you're free. You're free. We've got about 10 minutes left in the show. Let me just explain to the people one more time what we're talking about. Gina's been in my life for about 4 years. We started out as friends around a pool party at a convention in Vegas where we were all together with the wonderful DNA nutrition that I constantly promote, because if you swab your cheeks and send it to the lab, and no, it's not US, it's private, you get a customized, clinically dosed nutritional product that will change your life, because it feeds your genetic code in your body to heal the organs and tissues and ailments. But that's for another show, and it's also on my website. But let's wait till that passes.
I know. I'm out in the park, right?
Yeah. So the Wicks of Wisdom candle line was created in 1999. It's all online. In 2006, I paid Kris Jenner $25,000 to be the host of my TV infomercial, which is parked on my YouTube channel at Linda Salvin. And we were on TV for a while, and I brought the show down for various reasons. It was the same year that CBS Radio, where I was, closed down, and then my mother died, and then the infomercial was too much, and you just collapse. After a while, you can only handle so much. But then you make a comeback, and through the comeback have been people like Gina on a different level, and it's been beautiful, because especially with the internet and with YouTube, we can see face to face, not just being on the phone, and it's been more personal. Or Gina's lucky enough to drive in, because most of the time I don't let people here at the house and get the supplies, because I'd go nuts if that weren't the case. It's not a store. But the bottom line is they work. And you took a chance not knowing, but you had a spiritual inclination that there was something real, and you did your research. When you did come for that first reading in a panic, and I think that was tonight, we also went to the Greek Theater and
Yes.
saw a concert, right? But we had to do something. There was so much negativity in front of you. It was like, I knew it, because first I'm saying, and then I pulled the cards. I could see the future. It's like, this is going to be a rough ride. But then I talked about the candles, and I told her, and she had faith. Even if they don't work, even if you don't have faith and you are a skeptic, they're going to work. I don't care
Well, that's
what
what you said.
think.
You said no guarantees.
No, I
But
can't.
then again, you also created a couple special candles for me.
Formulas. I created formulas. Yeah. What Gina's talking about, there are different oils. I have 22 different types of oils. One might be called attraction. One might be called master. One might be called magnet. You don't know what they are. It's like salt, pepper, garlic, and oregano. You don't know when to put what where. The oregano is more Italian than it would be pancakes, right? So I'm not going to put bananas into a lasagna. There are formulas. In Gina's case, it was legal. I had to focus on the court and the outcome to keep her out of jail. How do I do that? By talking to the opposing attorney and the judge. But what do I say? That's for me to know and you to find out, like Gina did. When I had my court case in 2003, I had been on the air. For those who don't know me, I've been on radio for 30 years, but I was on the air back in 2003. I was nationally syndicated, and somebody called from Chicago to say my voicemail wasn't working. I go, what are you talking about? And I got home after the show, and it was a 2-hour show, and I couldn't retrieve my voice messages, because that's my money. That's my client base. That's why I did the show for marketing. And yeah, I put it out there, and you guys came back just like with Gina. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And of course, it was Thanksgiving weekend, so everybody was closed. But I called my attorney, who now is deceased, unfortunately. But he said, well, when they open, get a record of all the calls you've done with this company in the last year and a half. It's okay. Well, long story short, turned out I had lost about $125,000, $150,000 worth of potential business, because there were calls in there I never got to retrieve. So it was a faulty system to begin with. So I sued this company that's in Texas. I'm in California. And by the time we got to court here in LA, I had done candles on the opposing attorneys to kind of screw up and to have the judge favor me. It's the way it's worded. It's not a spell. It's not heavy spell curse work, as you know. It doesn't, and nobody got affected. Nobody got harmed. Nobody was, oh my God, Your Honor. You're not mesmerized. You just, like Gina said, it smells good. That's about it. And then put the pictures back up, Rebel, please. So you just see these candles burning, but they're not, you don't think they're doing anything. They're just burning, they just burn. But that's called dressing the candles with all the herbs, oils, powders, and petitions. And then they sit there for 3 to 7 days. Thank you. So we went to court, and then the opposing judge, lawyer from Texas comes up with a piece of paper in his hand, and he goes up to the bench. Your Honor, she's doing candle magic. She's got a candle line. She's manipulating her case. And the judge goes like this. She had glasses on, so she goes, sit down, counsel. Sit down, counsel. Well, he was right, but I still won. Then they wouldn't pay. So then, and I won a hefty amount. And then we had to go to the appellate court. So on the appellate court, and this is how it works. If Gina had to go to the appellate court or to appeal a judgment, any of you, there's always 5 judges on that bench as opposed to 1 that you normally find in the federal or the civil courts or the superior court. So I had to get all 5 names in a different county because it had to be tried in another county. But only 4 of those judges end up on the bench. So I don't know the crapshoot, right? So my attorney and I are sitting in the back when the court date finally came. And I kind of said that the opposing attorney, whatever his name was, let's call him John Smith, was going to kind of put his foot in his mouth and embarrass himself. So the first thing he says to this new court bench was blah, blah. And the judge says, counsel, are you insinuating that Judge so-and-so misdiagnosed this case and was wrong? Yes, Your Honor. Well, that was putting his foot in his mouth. And the whole case went on like this, where they were tripping over themselves. And in the end, I won the judgment. But they didn't want to pay. So it sat there collecting interest. They thought I was just psychic, frivolous, nothing would happen. They didn't know who my father was. My dad knew the top Dallas attorney. And so my dad went to him and asked for a favor. On letterhead, their firm went to their firm in Dallas with a threatening, like pay or. And next thing you know, I'm getting this check with the interest. Don't mess with Dr. Salvin. Don't mess with Wicks of Wisdom. There is a way for me to get out of my trouble because I am here to help people. I love helping. I love the messes, but you got to work with me. And sometimes I get testy and sometimes I get angry and sometimes I blow like everybody else, but I will help you when you work with me. Like Gina, there were times it's like the rag doll. You got to let Gina slow down. We'll get there. And we all get hyper people. We all do. It's painful. But to think you're going to jail for 20 years, what are you in your 50s? Are you in your 50s, 60s?
I'm 61.
Oh, I couldn't remember. Okay, so you would have been in jail till you were 81, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, I just turned 70, so I'm 9 years ahead of you. I could not imagine spending the last 9 years of my life or the future 20 years of my life behind bars after everything I've done on this journey. Yeah. You, marriage, divorce, your mom, your kids, your grandkids, your work, your friends, your commitment to the universe. You're helping people. You are a helper. You are a spiritual person. The bottom line is of this podcast, people, is Gina came back. As I said, she was here before she was sentenced. She was here along with Kelly when they had before her sentence, and Kelly was helping her feel more secure about what might happen because Kelly went through the same thing, and then they both came back, and then we learned that Gina didn't go to jail. And then Gina wanted to come to give another recap. And here she is. And your skin, your hair, your body, the bloat, the grayness, the depression, you were like wearing a mask but when that ugly, fearful, depressed part of ourselves takes over, you were still
exactly.
You were carried by God, your friends, and at the end, you had so many people writing those letters in your behalf to the judge, to the court.
I had a multitude, and the attorney actually said, she says, I see people getting letters that, oh yes, I know them, they're a good person, blah blah blah. And
yours were deep.
She said, I've never had people that actually go into stories, and this is why, and this is what they've done for me and my family and my children.
I came up.
Yes, you did.
When you asked me, I was a little reluctant. If you remember, I wasn't sure I would jump in. Remember, I didn't want to get involved, and I thought about it. My particular letter was introducing my background and my work. I even said I'm a psychic. I let the judge know I'm a psychic.
Yes, you did.
And I said, my degrees and my profession, however, how we met at this convention and how we became friends and the dedication in our communication. And I think this is unfortunate that I got into your character and your motherhood and your grandmotherhood and whatever honesty and integrity, just the fun part about who you are and your character. And he got to know Gina, with all these
Yes.
others. And there was a
He
moment.
did say that. He said, before any sentencing occurs, I want to get to know who you are.
But
And
at the
I
beginning,
had
you were like,
dozens and dozens and dozens of
but not at the
letters.
beginning. At the beginning, you thought, oh my God, nobody cares. Nobody's helping me. Linda, what am I going to do? I only have a few. They're all going to come in. And as you got closer to the due date, they all popped up, Gina. So at the end, the universe took care of you one more time. The people are there for you. You're there for your family and for yourself in the future, that we're going to have projects going. And I know Mr. Johnny will pop up at the right time, whenever that's going to take off. But the
Like you're saying, the support. I mean, I have to give a shout out for Dr. Jerry Shea. Well, actually, she's not a doctor, but she is a therapist. She was there. There was family members were there, but I really had that foot in my mouth. And when you were burning more candles, you helped me take my own foot out of my mouth and actually
you were scared. Yeah.
contacting the people that I love and that love me back. And they wrote me these amazing love letters. And that right there is a catharsis, that it's almost like a eulogy that you're reading that you don't usually hear from people.
You don't hear the good
when
stuff
you're
while you're alive.
No, and you don't hear that. And and that right there was very much of a miracle, and that was very much of a blessing. And when you're able to basically go forward and now in a completely different dynamic, and just embrace the people that have been by you and that love you, and even the people that are elsewhere. It's
They all came back. They all came up for you. They all showed up. We've got 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes left in this broadcast. We're gonna have to wrap it up. But I'm talking to Gina DeStito. She's currently in the South and in the state of Georgia. She travels a lot, always has. And this particular episode is From Criminal to Cool and Free, because she was a criminal. She was on the roster to go to federal prison for 20 years. Nobody would have seen you back. I mean, you might come out alive, but it didn't happen. So she came to testify, the legal system, how she won, and she's contributing most of it, or a lot of it, to the fabulous Wicks of Wisdom, which work like a prescription for your soul. If you're having problems legally, mentally, emotionally, with your marriage, with work, with finances, with bad luck, curses, whatever, health issues. We had one woman who was bleeding vaginally. We did the candle. She stopped. She didn't need a hysterectomy. We had another woman with skin cancer. I can't say that they will heal everybody, but I've seen it work. I've seen people have almost haunts in their house, and it calms down by doing the black power to remove the negative. Gina, I want to have you back probably next month.
All
One
right.
more time, and we'll just do a round robin. Maybe Johnny will be back by then, or I'll bring you and Kelly. I don't know. We'll wrap it.
Be my privilege. Absolutely my privilege.
I'm going to say goodbye to you. I'm going to wrap up the show. You stay backstage. This is Dr. Linda Selvin. You've been listening to Gina DeStito tell her testimony of what it was like for the last 4 years going through a federal offense. She was busted for, which turned out to be a fraudulent situation for her, but she was caught with a PPP wire fraud situation. And she panicked, of course, and was falling apart, found me, met me at a conference, and we developed a friendship. And I slowly said, well, I can help you with this. And you just heard it for yourself. Again, if you're having problems, or you're scared, or you're in a legal bind, or you don't understand how things are going to turn out, or you need some help from the spiritual world, it's not woo-woo. I'm a scientist by trade. Check out my website at lindaselvin.com. You could go to wicksofwisdom.net. If you email me personally after listening to this, say you heard the podcast with Criminal to Cool and Free, I'll give you a 10% discount. That's it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow with another guest. I'm Dr. Linda Selvin saying bye-bye from Psychic Solutions Podcast.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed Dr. Linda Salvin's Psychic Solutions podcast. You can reach Dr. Linda at 888-509-1077 or at lindasalvin.com. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.